familiar faces here. We popped on a little bit early just for us all to say hello. Paul Webster will be hosting the Looking Back at Love Hate event. There's Jimmy now. How are you doing?
Should I be here?
You can hop off for a second if you like, or you can stay on.
How do I do this?
Just press leave chat, and then you can come back in again in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Thanks, Jimmy. So yeah, just to give you all somewhat of an idea of how this is going to work, we're gonna Paul Webster's going to have a little chat with the guys, just talking about the kind of cultural phenomenon of love-hate and the impact that it had in this country, the casting process, their experiences on it, the impact it's had on their own careers, and what it was like working with Stewart and Caffo, Dave Caffrey afterwards. Jimmy and Lynn in particular went on to work on the next project that they made collectively, Taken Down, and Mary Murray is also joining us. Mary is a wonderful character actor, as you can see from her array of theatre and film and TV work, just a chameleon. We're really delighted to for her to join us for this tonight. Later on in the evening, straight afterwards, we have the Virgin Media Dublin International Film Festival, and Ronnie Humphreys, festival director, will be taking this one, and we'll be chatting to the Discovery Award nominees / winners from last year, and checking in with them. Some of those people are incredibly talented, some of them, all of them. Rachel Carey, who has a feature coming out very soon called Deadly Cuts. The trailer dropped during the week. Keep an eye out for that. It looks deadly. Hazel Dupe, a fantastic young actor, who you may know from Kathleen was here, and other bits, and also her work with Carmel Winters. Bertie Woner, brilliant DOP, who's worked with, I'm sure, a lot of you who are on the event tonight. And costume designer Sailor O'Halloran, who's done some incredible work behind the scenes, literally. Then we're moving on. Then at 10 to 9, we'll have the Irish Equity panel, formerly Irish Actors Equity, representing performers on the island of Ireland. And this is a really interesting chat. We'll be joined by a number of actors talking about the importance of representation in the arts. Now, when I say representation, I don't mean actors' representation of an agency. I mean taking agency of their own work and knowing their rights, their rates, and just knowing that they have an organization in their corner, and the importance of representation, and how a very, very small amount of money every month can pretty much guarantee that you won't be ripped off. So Jerry O'Brien will be joining us for that. Also Steve Hartland, Matthew Malone, Geraldine McClendon, and one or two others, excuse me. Then at 9:20, we're rounded off by the Screen Composers Guild of Ireland, and they'll be talking about scoring Ireland and composition in the Irish landscape. We'll be joined by Jonathan Casey, Natasha Paulberg, Giles Packham, and Kevin Wims. And that will be hosted by FNI's old pal, Patrick O'Connor. Patrick composed the theme to our podcast and works a lot with us in other capacities as well across our team, and is a wonderful composer in his own right. So yeah, and then at 10 o'clock, the networking, which everybody always finds of incredible value. It puts a face to a name. It shows people, shows these people whose names you see pop up online, such as myself, Ray, Paul Webster. You get to chat to them for 2 minutes. And the good news is, if you don't like them, you can hang up on them. But I wouldn't encourage that, because you'll see them at film festivals. But it's a wonderful opportunity, quite literally, just have a quick chat and go, Jesus, how are you? If you know the person. You can also swap details quickly. And then, you know, you always have something to break the ice with when you meet these people at film festivals or around. You can go, Jesus, I was talking to you at the FNI thing. How are you? And so forth. It's really helpful. Please try and hang around for that. Even if you're only on for half an hour now, for the love-hate thing, pop back on later. Do have a chat. People really appreciate it. And there's Ray Mongie. How you doing, Ray?
Very well, Paul. How are you? I'm looking forward to tonight. I think it's going to be a great event. There's loads of talks and everything. It's very exciting, and loads of people getting tickets, which is great. Yeah, I'd just like to say a big thanks to Paul, who's put an awful lot of time and effort into organising all of this, and the rest of the team who are constantly ploughing away in the background, creating the podcast, moderating the group, looking after social media, everything. It's just it's fantastic to see what a great team we have. So I just wanted to say a big thanks to everybody there. A big special thanks to the guests as well, and the various hosts for the different sessions tonight as well. Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, thanks also to our podcast host as well, Mia Malarkey, who's off working at the moment, but always in the background doing great things. Sean T. O'Malley, wonderful actor and wonderful host on our show as well. And Remy Michelle Clark, voiceover artist, writer, and formerly an actor as well, who do Trojan work. And of course, Keevy O'Sullivan, who does all the administration for us and is quite literally the legs paddling under the water for a lot of the things that we do. So thanks so much for that.
Not to forget Tara and Desiree, who are doing a fantastic job as well. The FNI Facebook group moderators. So if you have any questions inside the group, they're there to help. They're like the group itself, it's probably 10 or 15 people a day wanting to get into the group, which is incredible. So that all has to be filtered to ensure that it's they're a good fit for the group to keep the community strong and on point. So thanks to them.
Unless, of course, you want to buy Ray-Bans, of which we'd let everybody in if that's the case.
Yeah, if it was an open group, then yeah, we'd be able to buy Ray-Bans off everybody who's selling them. Actually, well, Facebook, I don't want to go on a rant here, but Facebook have partnered with Ray-Ban, so you'll be seeing them a lot now shortly.
The irony. I would say as well, guys, just we're letting it run for a little bit longer, just so more people could sign up, because we've been getting messages and emails about it. But our mentorship scheme as well is going to be starting very, very soon. So if you go to www.wearefni.com/mentors, you can have little one-on-ones. It's a donation-based initiative, just to keep wood on the fire, where you can chat to people working in film and TV in different departments that might be able to assist you, or pass on some words of wisdom and just say, look, it's bloody terrible sometimes, but it's bloody fantastic, and you're not on your own out there, and everybody needs a mentor. So for that, you'll get a couple of sessions where they'll check in with you, have a quick Zoom call, and then maybe a few months later, depending on whatever project you're working on, if you're a writer or composer or whatever your endeavor is, and they'll check back in with you and strike up a professional but engaging relationship with you. And you never know, you never know where that might lead in terms of connections and so on. And we're really, really excited about this. There's over 30 mentors working across the different disciplines in film and TV, so it's really worth kind of checking out. And we've a number of initiatives coming up also. We also will have we'll be expanding the membership on Buy Me a Coffee. So we'll be, if you go to buymeacoffee.com/FNI, and keep an eye on that. If you sign up for a membership, there'll be like extras on that. One of which will be you'll get a certain amount of hours and hot desks in our new office space in town and stuff. And some other really interesting initiatives too. Also, if you want to come on the podcast, you find you have something interesting to talk about, or you have something coming out, or you'd like to plug something you're working on, by all means, drop us an email at info@wearefni.com. And thank you to the community, which has been as good to us as it's been to everybody else. So it's overwhelming the amount of support that we've got over the last couple of years, and thanks also to Screen Scales and everybody else that supported us. Yeah, say hello there on the right-hand side. Let us know where you are in the country, what you do as well, so people know then when you pop up in the networking at the end of the night. There's Paul Webster.
Hello, Paul.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Oh,
Very good.
There's
awesome.
Kiwi too.
Kiwi, there she is. How are you?
How are you keeping, Paul? What's happening?
Yeah, good. Yeah, I spent the summer watching Love Hate in anticipation of me watching and enjoying it.
Nice.
So,
I sorry to cut across you guys. I just have to mention, unfortunately, Peter Coonan plays Fran. Is on a job in London and he has ran over, so he's actually still shooting on a gig, so he won't be able to make it tonight. But we are left with 3 whopper deadly cast, so we can only apologize for that. But what we will do is we will get him on the podcast, so you will have some idea of what his input was like in the show and his experiences. So he's not getting away with it that lightly. We'll nab him again. Hello everybody there. Hi Emer, Angela, Johnny. Sorry, Paul, you were telling us about your binging habits.
Yeah. What a chore. No, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it holds up so well. So I've got loads of. I think I've got some good, strong questions, and hopefully, our viewers, I'd say, will have some really fascinating questions, as they always do as well.
Lovely stuff. We're just waiting for Jimmy's obviously waiting in the wings there. I'm just waiting for Mary, and I'll just check back out there. Just chat amongst yourselves, and I'll have a little whip round and see where everybody else is.
Yeah,
you're all very welcome along. Guys, if you do have questions, try to keep them until the end of the session, and the guys will try to answer them as best they can as we go.
There's Mary.
I've been here all along.
Sneaking there.
I appeared when Jimmy said, "Should I be here?" And you said no. And then I went, okay, I'll wait. So, but yeah, I've been here.
Right, I'll dip off and see where Lynn is.
Okay.
It's great to see you, by the way. Thanks.
You too. Pleasure.
Good. I'm going to dip off and just do some housekeeping behind the scenes there.
Great. I was just going to say as well, on the right-hand side, you'll see there's the event tab. That sort of general chat that everybody in the entire event will see, including in the reception area as well. And then you've got the session tab. So this is the looking back at Love Hate session, and then the other sessions later on are the different rooms, so to speak. So each one of them have their own session tab for chat. For polls, I don't think we'd be doing any polls today, but for Q&A. So if you have any questions, you can type your question in there, and then we'll try. The host will hopefully get a chance to ask the guests them questions before the end of the session, just so it doesn't get lost in chat. So just to give you an update on that, I think Paul's done housekeeping regarding the overall platform, has he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
No, I haven't. Which Paul? Guys, just on the left-hand side, if you go to sessions as they go, this may run on a little bit. So if you're really interested in what may be coming up next with the Virgin Media session, you can jump out. We will be recording them, and we'll make them available for other people to see. But these they tend to run over by about 5 or 10 minutes each one. But as I said, then at the end of the night, the handshake icon on the left-hand side of the screen there as well at 10 o'clock. Hang around, even if it's only for 10 minutes, you can get like 5 or 6 little short chats in before you get your before last orders or whatever it is you want to do. That's it, I think, from me. Jimmy's on there.
Hey, Jimmy.
Hi, Mary. How are you?
Look at you with all your books. I'm a writer.
I only fucking put them up. I only put them up so I'd look like I'm not a fucking idiot. You know that, Mary. We've done this before.
Wallpaper.
What?
That's just wallpaper.
Yeah. Hey, Lynn.
It's a screensaver.
Hello.
Lynn,
I got in.
My
got
God,
in
look.
Eventually.
You
Kept asking me to.
You look
tell
great,
me my
Lynn. How are
passwords. I'm good. Yeah, I'm really good.
Hey, stranger.
Toronto?
Hi, Paul. Yeah, I'm in Toronto. I'm coming home in 2 weeks, though. I'm returning.
Oh, wow.
Are you?
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have everything open for you by then.
I know, like, yeah, I was waiting until stuff was open.
You're right. What's the point?
What's it like there?
It didn't feel as intense. I was at home like December to February, and just sat in my mom's house for 2 months. And it was way more intense there. But yeah, it's been fine here, kind of. With the weather makes a difference because everything is outdoors.
What's the weather like?
It's usually like 25 to 35 since May, really, yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, it's like that all summer. So I wasn't going anywhere till that was gone.
Why bother?
You'll escape the winter then.
Yeah, and then once I have work finished up here, I'm escaping winter. I'm not doing winter again.
Are they tough? Are the winters tough there?
Yeah. That's why I went back last year. I was like, I'm not doing lockdown in this snow.
Where were you? Sorry, I missed the start there.
I'm in Toronto.
Oh yeah. I was in Montreal during winter. It's mad. They've actually got underground tunnels where all the shops are and all. That's how cold it is.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's really bad.
Yeah. But beautiful during the summer. Loved it during the summer.
Yeah, gorge in the summer. Yeah.
Will we get kicked off?
Yeah. I'm going to get out of here. Thanks so much, everybody, for jumping on. Looking forward to the talk, and thanks, Paul, as well, for hosting it. If anybody has any technical issues, I'll be in the chat somewhere, so give us a shout.
We're going to go till about 8. Is that?
You're right.
Thanks, Ray.
Cool. Thanks.
Thanks, Ray.
Like your
thanks everyone
headshot
for doing this.
Thanks.
Nice, yeah. So I was trying to think of a good question to start with, and because it's 10 years now. It's not 10 years since you were all on it, but there's a good amount of time has passed. And I just thought, as a question to start off with, when you think of the filming of Love Hate, what scene do you think of first? So I don't know if anyone said what comes to mind. Is there anyone in particular?
The rape scene with me, obviously,
I mean, how was that to shoot, Jimmy?
Well, Charlie made it easy, to be honest,
Right.
I suppose a lot of actors, the more dramatic the scene is, it's actually kind of easier to play in many ways, because you just you just let it flow,
Yeah.
But I was dead nervous, you know what I mean? Because you kind of have to be ugly in the scene like that, and which is not easy when you're handsome like this. And, you laugh at me,
That's
buddy.
real acting.
I know.
And,
I was thinking.
But no, I was dead nervous. I have to say, obviously, and everybody's very sensitive around the scene like that, But Charlie Murphy is just brilliant. And Charlie said to me, she said, I said, Jesus, Charlie, my nerves is gone. Obviously, I've never fucking done something like this before. And I remember Charlie saying to me, she said, this is an opportunity to show what it's actually like, how easy this shit can happen. So just go for it, And Mary's gone. And that, I think, was a scene that for me was more about how amazing Charlie Murphy was. Like an actor's just fucking. It couldn't have been nice, obviously, even as an actor, scenes have an emotional resonance with you, especially if you walk from kind of an emotional place as an actor,
Yeah.
But I just remember her bravery, and I just remember her sense of just telling the truth and to go for it for a wider cause, really for a wider cause for people to see how easy this stuff can happen, She's in the back room and a guy just walks in there and before you know it, her life has changed, And I'll always remember that. And I think I'll always remember as well my first scene working with Tom Val Lawler, because I was terrible nervous, man. Love Hate was the first thing that I'd done over here first thing I'd done really pretty much in years, I think. And I was dead nervous, and we were doing, well, not really my first scene, because the first scene was an exterior, but my first scene inside was with Tom and Jason Barry. Where's me dad? Do you remember Jason? Where's me dad? And I can't say Jason Barry without going, where's me dad? And I say to him at a meeting, hey Jason, where's me dad? And I had this scene, and I was fucking terrible nervous. I really was. I think it was my second day shooting, you know. And it was in the bar, and it was talking about the Jack Russell scenes and all that shit. And there was a lot of extras around. And I'm fucking terrible for flumping my lines anyway, the best of times, even if I write the lines myself, you know. And Tom is like a fucking machine. He doesn't forget. Not only doesn't he forget a line, he doesn't forget a syllable. He doesn't forget a full stop. He's like fucking perfect every time. And because he prepares better than me. And you know, how do you do it, John? He says, I just read with my wife, you know. And I don't. I just you know. And so I kept flecking up the lines, and you know, they say, okay, stop, and then there's 30 extras looking at you, and you feel like a fucking idiot. And then Capo, this was the worst part. Capo said, can we get an apple box for Jimmy? And I went, that means I'm small. So I'm small horn, and I'm actually fucking small. So I thought, oh God. And I just remember feeling like tiny and insignificant, and I'm fucking up my lines, and everybody's looking at me here, you know. Because Tom just looks at you like that. No, he's looking at me going, come on, man, you can do this. But I don't see that. I see him going, you're a fucking idiot. What are you doing here? Like, you shouldn't even be on the same set, you know. And I remember coming out from that and getting into the car with the driver fella, and I said to him, I said, oh man, I'm not coming back here tomorrow. It's too much. I'm not coming back here tomorrow. I said, I'm gone. Back here tomorrow. I said, that was fucking horrible. And the taxi driver said, yeah, he says, I don't know what it is about you actors. I says, what? He says, Sean McGinley, he says, I drove him home yesterday. He said exactly the same fucking thing. I'm not coming back tomorrow. I'm not. And I said, Sean McGinley said that? I mean, Sean is such a terrific actor, you know? And he said, yeah. So I said, oh, well, damn, I must be in fucking good company. I said, I'll be back tomorrow, you know? So I think they're the two that stick out for me, you know?
Yeah. Really good. Anyone else?
I think mine is like insane as Jimmy. It was like my second day. And as well, this was my first like TV gig outside of theatre. And on my second day, I had to smuggle drugs and a phone into the prison. And it was like, it was pretty graphic, but I was so nervous of how like pouring the lube onto the condom thing and everything. So I was like, my go-to when I'm nervous is to make jokes. So I was like to Caffo, I was like, oh, sure, I've been practicing all weekend to have this. And he was like, what? I was like, I'm only messing. Not that method, man. Like, I was so nervous with it on like the whole smuggling in. And then like another one of my first scenes was a sex scene as well, which was like my first time doing it. But it was just like, everyone was just so sound with, because it was such a gritty show, and I came in the third season. So everyone was quite like grounded and like used to the grit and everything like that everyone made you feel so comfortable. No matter what it was, you could go 100% or 150% with it. And that's what made the show great, is like nothing was held back. No matter how gritty it was, you had to make it real and authentic, or else it just wasn't going to make people uncomfortable watching it. And the more uncomfortable I was doing it, I figured the more uncomfortable people would be watching it. So yeah, like, but Caffo was always great with that, with stuff. He's the same. He'll just always crack jokes to lighten the mood in the room and make you feel super comfortable with, no matter what it was. And there was a lot of stuff in that show that you'd read and you're like, all right, here we go. Yeah, that would have been mine, the smuggling the drugs in, like, I was just like, great, this is happening. Let's go. Pass me that KY and let's go.
Mary?
Well, the first scene that comes to mind is, again, for me, it was very early. I came in late into season 3, and it was at the beginning of season 4 when I'm trying to get the dentist out of the brothel, and I'm telling him to get out, and he's getting sick, and I just remember thinking, this fella's brilliant. I don't even know who he is, Peter Mara. And he had told me that he'd come over from LA to do the thing, and I was just like, God, the level of all the actors, you know, not just the ones you knew from watching on the TV, but everyone else, everyone around you. And but I just remember that it was kind of an intense scene, and it, again, I suppose I was a bit nervous because it was a long scene, and you just don't want to get it wrong when it's one of your first days. You're like, oh, yeah, I just hope I don't fluff a line here. But I'm like, when I was thinking that, that's just the first image that comes to mind. But like at the very end of season 3, when I had just come in, there was a scene in the brothel, and I'm chatting to some of the prostitutes and stuff, and I think I was allowed to improvise, and I was just allowed to play, and I had a very small part at that point. It was like, you might end up in it again. So I think that I don't think it ended up in the show, but I think it was my opportunity, my audition, you know, to go, okay, I'm gonna play with this. Hopefully they'll use something out of it. And yeah, they're kind of the moments that really stand out from the beginning, you know. I mean, for lots of people, obviously, there's a lot of scenes with Tom Von Lawler and everything, because they're mostly my scenes, and he's brilliant. But you always kind of, and he was always, like Jimmy said, just amazing to work with and watch and everything. But you just always remember the first things or the second, you know, they're always the strongest, most vivid memories.
Yeah, great. And you mentioned Caffel, so that would be David Caffrey. So how important, so like, what was it like? He would have done 2 series by the time you guys came on. So did it feel kind of like a well-oiled machine by the time you guys got there?
I thought he was the most extraordinary individual, actually. Just, he had this energy, like he was so on top of everything. And it was things like, it's the little things that really show the mark of a person. When an extra came along, or somebody off the street came along and wanted a picture with Tom or something like that, and he'd be in the middle of doing very difficult things, and he'd go out of his way to let a woman and a baby get a picture or something. You know, he'd do those things, and because of that lovely vibe that he created on the set, it was there everywhere. It was there in all the actors, all the crew, and yeah, he was amazing. He was incredible at what he did.
Yeah, he's amazing. That with like extras is something, like anytime I've worked with him, I've noticed it didn't matter like who you were on set. He goes over and introduces himself and makes sure everybody is being well looked after, they're comfortable. And I think that's what like makes anything he does so great, because everybody feels valuable and everybody feels like they have a purpose. And if you feel like you have a purpose on set, it's going to come across a lot more confidently, and you're not going to be standing around going, oh, what am I doing? The director has like approached me and acknowledged that I'm here, like I'm not just in the background. That's the way it should be, because everybody plays a valuable part in making up TV, and he's great at doing that. Like I love watching him going around, where he gets his energy from. Like anytime I've worked with him, I'm just like, and then he just collapses when everything ends. He's like, I'm done. Yeah, he's amazing and just a creative genius, like what he can do.
Yeah, I think the great thing about him was, what I learned about him from a creative point of view was, don't think about it. You know, when we were doing Love Hate, it was so fast, even though it looked fantastic, but relative to other films of that genre, the budget was very small apparently, and so you had no time to think. You know, you had to just keep moving. You know, and I remember saying to him one time, do you not want to work this out? You know, do you want to work the scene out? And he said, well, we worked that out when we cast you, you know. And okay. And
no
I said,
pressure.
he said, well, what do you want to think about? Just fucking do it, you know. And I learned a lot from that, you know, because Lynn would know this. from Canada, you know, and probably I don't know if you've done New York, but when you're in New York working with, you know, people want to sit around and talk like, what's going on here, you know?
Yeah.
And you don't get that with Caffo. So it's go, it's over there. They're going to kill him. That's it. Let's go. And what like what Lynn was saying, like when we were working on taking down Lynn, you know, and Gail was the first AD, you know, and we'd be all ready to go. Where's Caffo? And you'd hear somebody on the radio going, he's outside talking to a stranger who's walking down the street, you know, and then it just, can we get him in here? We can fucking shoot this thing. And then I remember one time it just got to a point because we were doing a lot of exteriors at that point. I think we were walking off O'Connell Street. Do you remember Lane and the Broccoli?
Yeah, it was busy.
And there was a lot of people walking up and down, you know. And Gail, the AD, then it got to this. She would say, somebody find Caffo, and if he's talking to anybody in the street, just drag him. You know.
Yeah,
and because of his kind of because of his casual vibe, he just took all of kind of the air, the unwanted air, you know, that you don't need, you know, the anxiety, you know, about being getting ready to do a scene. He just took all that out, you know. I mean, if you look at him on set, you think he's the last guy to be a director. That's what you say to him. I said, you're talking to everybody, you know. But as soon as they sit down in the chair and he's on that monitor, he becomes that machine, you know. And as he said to me, he said all the decisions about making a show are done before we get to set. All the big decisions are made. Then it's just sitting back and watching it all come together, you know.
Yeah, he has a gift like that, and I truly believe it is. You just walk, making everybody feel confident and happy and energetic as well. It's a gift that he has. Like it really is.
Yeah,
because
I said that to him loads of times. I'm like, I could watch it all day. This is a gift. That the vibe you create on set, because you don't have to do it. Like we're here to do a job, you know. But he really goes the extra mile for it, and you enjoying yourself to everyone.
Yeah, because I remember saying to himself one time. I said, I think it was into me 3rd or 4th days of filming, and I was working all day. And he never came up to me once during those 3 or 4 days and said, said to me, "No, Jimmy, can we try it this way or that way? You know what you would be expecting." So I said it to him on about the 4th day. I said, "Caffo," I said, you never come up to me. You know, I've seen you go to other people, so I know you do it, but you never come to me. You know." And in my mind, you know, what my self-esteem, I'm going, he's already given up on me. We just get through this. You know. And so I said, you know, you never come up to me, you know, other people. And he said, don't worry, when you do something wrong, I'll be telling you. The next day we were doing the scene with where the car is burnt, you know, outside the pub where Robbie comes and throws the petrol underneath the car. And I done whatever I do, you know, and he went, cut. And I remember he was right across the street on the monitor, right? And everybody's around, and he shouted, and he cupped his hands. He went, Jimmy! And I went, what? Less Brooklyn and more Ballyfermish! And that was the only time he corrected me.
And you don't want to be corrected because he will shout from across. He's no problem.
It's like, yeah.
And did you guys get to talk to Stuart Carlin, or was he very much behind the scenes, or how was that dynamic?
Well, Stuart's always very approachable, and if he can be on set, he will, not like very often, but he's very approachable. Stuart is like one of the soundest. He's not as outgoing as David, that's for sure, but Stuart is so sound, and he loves talking to people because he wants characters to be as real as possible.
Yeah,
as you can tell by anything he writes. So if there's anything he can get from the actor that will contribute to the character or whatever else, he's like all for it, because everything he writes is so authentic and real.
Yeah, he's brilliant. I remember after doing season 3, the small part, meeting him soon afterwards, and he was like, I've got this part and this is what you're doing, this is what you're doing. And other people around him that were not supposed to be telling what was happening, they were like, shut up, Stuart. Like, even I didn't know where I was, you know, when he was telling me everything. It's like he was dying to give the information. And yeah, he was such a lovely fella. And just so engrossed in what he was doing. And just making the story work. And for me, I think the biggest thing I noticed about him was that when he took out one word of my dialogue at one point, and it changed the whole direction of the character. One word. And I went, how long did it take him to do that? You know, it was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, he's incredible.
And there's a rare thing, like, because we talk about the grit of it, but it's mixed in with humor, like this dark humor. How did you kind of, because that can go so wrong. So when you read the scripts, like, was it like, oh, is this going to work? Was there trepidation, or did you just have to trust?
I think.
Well, yeah. So go ahead. Yeah, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You go on, Jimmy.
Well, I was just talking to him about this last night, not last, couple of nights ago. I was talking to you about something, and we were talking about that, and precisely that. You know, there's a few things in the writing of Stuart that people probably don't often see. He's got a poetry in there, you know, and he's got a warmth. And I never saw the fucking comedy, you know, in anything that I read. You know, it's almost like a cake, you know. It's almost like, you know, there's all these ingredients that he puts in there. You mix them in with the actors, with the direction, with the production design, the camera work, and then this thing comes out and it surprises you, you know. Like after that, there's a great line that he has after the rape scene, which was horrific, you know. But it's where Tom says to Charlie, "You got an old fright there," you know. And it's her. I mean, what a line after a rape, you know. You got an old fright there. You go home. We'll take her home there, Tommy, you know. And it's stuff like that you don't see that on the page. On the page, you go, you know, you got no fright there. You see all this cynicism, you know. But when you never, like, I don't remember at all playing any comedy, even though there was some comedy in it, you know. But you never get that sense that you're playing that, or you're just doing what's on the page. I thought anyway, you know. And I thought that, and I think when you look at him, you know, there's been a lot of crime stuff and all that. But what makes Stuart unique is unquestionably two things. I think that even for the most hideous character, there's a kind of a blanket of warmth around that. And secondly, I think that there's just a poetry in his writing. There's a natural poetry that I think he purposely puts in there, you know, just a poetry of language. And I think those are the things that make it, you know, make it something unique, really.
Yeah, like I think you're right with the cake and all the ingredients as well, because I suppose when I think about it, yeah, you're not looking for laughs or anything. They're natural rhythms that are written into it, and I think it's a lot of that is to do with the casting as well, with Maureen Hughes casting, because now when I think about it, like Mark Dunn, who played Ado, and his rhythms, you know, just the way he speaks, and in contrast to people. Yeah. I think that's the thing. Lots of things kind of get it wrong because they approach everybody trying to hit the same rhythms, and it doesn't work like that. If you've got kind of unique rhythms going on, that's when people tune into things and they go, that's interesting. Because I'm not watching replicas of this over and over again. So I think that that's a lot to do with it as well. You know, like it's written so well, but obviously all of the production values on top of that, the casting and everything going, okay, this person is the perfect person to say these lines this way. You know, there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah, there's a lot, because a lot of myself and Mark scenes, when I read them, I didn't read them as being funny at all. And then when we were doing them on the day, like, they were just whatever way we were vibing off each other, because it is just that we were just this like couple that like just either arguing over something, saying it as it was. And when it did come out, so many people found a lot of the scenes funny. I think it was our last scene together when Nidges asked me to take over Janet's job, and like all the write-ups of it was like, what a hilarious scene. And I was like, I didn't even think that was funny at all. It was just because it was like a woman just putting him down and like going for it. Just like, I think that authentic Dublinism in the way that Stuart wrote it as well. It's like Dublin is hilarious. Like even in the most tragic of times, like you go to a funeral in Dublin, you'll hear people in the corner like having a laugh and banter. It's just like he captured that so well for me. It's like you can't avoid comedy even in our darkest hour with like Ireland as a whole, but particularly Dublin for me because I'm from Dublin. So I think Stuart really captured that, and it's again like just so authentic to how things happen in life. It's like even if something tragic is happening, you know, just somebody is in there saying something to lighten the mood ever so slightly, even if they're don't mean to be, you know. And I loved that about it. Like when I watched it and just didn't think things were going to be funny, and I'm like, all right, that is hilarious, you know.
Yeah, I think it's all to do with the truth, really. The truth.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Because if they have an arc and they have a real strength of character, well then anything that they believe they're saying, from people watching on the outside, they see the comedy in it. So you don't need to search for it, you know.
And Peter Coonan was great with that.
Yeah.
You know, like he just his comedic time and with even some savage things he was doing. Like I have a bone to pick with you.
Yeah.
Like when you read that, you wouldn't have thought that was like pretty grim. Yeah. And then it just ended up being, it was just that comedic timing of it. But that's that, nobody's sitting, if you're like doing that, you're not thinking about how awful this is, you're enjoying it. And I think that as well was with a lot of like the guys, they enjoyed as gangsters what they were doing so much that sometimes it just comes across as watching somebody enjoying themselves, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. It's kind of the absurdity, I think, of that world and you know, some of the stuff that goes along with it that they captured so well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because it was a lot of stuff that happens is insane, you know, but it was done so well, like, and acted out so well by everybody.
What was the reaction like? Because by the time you guys were in it, it was this kind of cultural phenomenon. What did it change how you were seen on the street, and is it still, you know, do you still get people shouting at you on the street and stuff?
It's actually mad. It really is mad. At the time, it was crazy, right? Like it was crazy. You'd be in a pub and everybody wanted selfies and things. But it was on recently, obviously, and we've all been stuck indoors. And I went to pubs recently and people wanted pictures again. You're like, that was a century ago.
Yeah.
You know? But it's amazing how it sticks in people's memories, and definitely, like, I remember my brothers were in it, Patzer and Jim. They played Paddy and Ray, and the joy they got out of all the girls up and their boobs to be signed, and they were loving it. Yeah, so
yeah, it's like literally only in like 2 months ago or something, I'd met like this Canadian girl through a friend of mine. And she was like, "Oh, you're an actor." I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Oh, I only know one Irish show." And I was sure she was going to say Derry Girls. She was like, "Love, Hate." And I was like, what? Because her Irish friends and loads of people over here, if they have Irish friends, which is loads of Irish people, they've seen Love, Hate like on it as well. So I was over here when I came back getting spotted, and that was mental. I was like, this show is huge. Like, I couldn't really go into an Irish bar or anything like that because the same thing was happening. And I was like, this is mental how much people love this show. But it wouldn't have been what it was if people didn't, you know. So we've a lot to thank for the people that clung to it and like loved it, you know.
Yeah. And it was so funny. It was so funny watching the show on a Sunday night because you'd wait to watch it with everybody else, and just all the Twitter feed and the things that Irish people pick up on, like, you know, Fanta Orange or whatever.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh my God, why? How did they see that in just the last 5 minutes? They laugh. Like, how funny Irish people are on. It was a whole, there was a whole world around it, which was just great fun to be part of.
I know it was, and like Chipper's doing Love Hate specials on a Sunday and everything. It's like so gas. I'll have the Love Hate special place. Yeah, there was loads of Chippers doing Love Hate specials on a Sunday. Like,
what was the Love Hate special on Sunday?
I don't know. I didn't get it, Jimmy, unfortunately. Yeah, it would have been a Fanta Orange, I bet you.
Yeah.
I think the best one I ever had was actually recently. You know, I live in Carlow, and I was down in Tullow, you know, which is a pretty agricultural town about, 20 minutes away from Carlow town. And I was in a petrol station, and I had the glasses on, and I had the mask on, and I was standing paying, and there was a guy beside me who was evidently a farmer, you know, because he was in paying for the fucking tractor petrol, and I said to one and 20 cigarettes, got me cigarettes, you know, and he turned to me and he says, "Are you your man?" He says, "With the mask on and the glasses."
That's
And I
hilarious.
says, "Which man?" "The lad from Love Hate." He says, "How the fuck did you recognise me?" "I heard your voice. It's a very distinctive voice." I says, "I am. Jesus should never believe me," he says. I says, "Well," I said, "you want a picture?" "No, Dad, my camera won't take the picture." "Why not?" That was it.
Amazing.
Jesus, that's 10 years later, you know. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yes.
You know?
What?
If you get recognised by farmers in Tullow, you've made it, I think, you know. Plus, you have a mask on, you know.
Yeah.
I'll open it out to questions to people watching, so throw them in there. What is the thing that you think that just made it connect with people so much?
So many.
Oh God, yeah. I think all the things we talked about, just the fact that it really was a cake, you know, that all these wonderful ingredients got to be part of, and yeah, like we just got in CAFO's hands, like it was a very safe and it was just a very safe place to be, and you just kind of see that everybody's artistry was nurtured and everything in it. And I think it was just, there was a lot of special people involved in it, you know, in terms of the music and the cinematography, because that's the thing, like you can act your socks off, but if the production values aren't good, you might still look brutal, you know. And if it's not edited well and everything. So yeah, it's all that stuff, you know, great team around it.
I think it was just something we hadn't seen on Irish screens before, like, you know, especially from a public broadcaster. It's like it really showed a side to Dublin that everybody kind of knows, but like it opened up it into people's living rooms every Sunday. So even if you, like, I know a lot of people that watched it and just gave out about it the next day, but they can't stop. So even like, you know, it was opened up a world that some people would just never let into their living rooms, but like was addicted to it because the characters were just so easy to follow. And even the bad ones were likable. And that's like the biggest thing of it as well. Like everyone was likable, even, you know, like Nidge, like if you put that down on paper, you're not going to be wanting to watch him, but Jesus Christ, you couldn't take your eyes off Tom.
Yeah.
So,
but you know what I'm just thinking?
It was something completely different.
I'm just thinking, actually, what probably got people watching it and really interested in it in the beginning was, of course, the eye candy and the sex. Like there was Ruth Nega and there was Campion
and what eye candy? Robert Sheehan and Ruth.
Robert Sheehan, like all these gorgeous people, and then of course in brothels with all these sexy ladies and showing their arses and all this. You know, like why wouldn't people be all tuned into it?
We're
it was just so intriguing,
Yeah,
totally fascinated by crime, you know, and it just is a side to Dublin that really wasn't done well on TV before because, you know, it just people were probably afraid to put it on TV and like afraid to offend or like whatever, but it worked really well, clearly.
And I think as well, one of the things that Stuart did in the writing was that, you know, because, you know, nobody's completely good and completely bad, you know what I mean? Even Nidge has his side, you know, even John Boy had that side. Like human beings are much more complex and people make choices for whatever way they make. But certainly I think I agree so much with what Mary said. I mean, and obviously what Lynn said, but I think one of the easy clips was the eye candy, you know, and the early clips of Love Hate when it was being advertised, you know what I mean? You see this gorgeous looking fella, you see this beautiful looking woman, and you go, Jesus, we haven't seen those on Irish television before too much, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. And let me watch this, and then you watch it and you see that it has this quality of, this is really, the production values were excellent, you know. The cinematography was brilliant, you know. It was David Odd. I have a picture of David Odd. I got to show this. This is the picture of me and David Odd. That was the cameraman.
Which one is you, Jimmy?
What?
Which one is you? She said.
Which one is me? And so David Odd was a great DP, you know, and I think it just moved, and I think it had just all the elements. I mean, Cavan had accomplished great things, I think, in the UK, and it just was of a standard that, as you say, Lena, had never been seen before, you know, and it had that quality of you know, that quality that mafia films have, that you kind of want to be the mob boss's buddy, you know what I mean? And in your mind, you're going, if I was there, this is what I'd do, you know? I'd be loyal to him, you know, or I'd be loyal to him, you know? And I think the title Love Hate, I often wonder what that was about, you know? But I think and I never actually asked Kath or Stuart that, but Love Hate, I think, represents that idea that nobody's really good, nobody's really bad, you know? We're kind of, everybody's in between those things, you know what I mean? And I think that warmth was always there of Nage and to a lesser extent John Boy, you know what I mean? Because he was so brutal to that girl, you know.
Yeah.
But Nage always had this warmth, you know. And I think when Nage came into his own in the third series, I think that's kind of probably when it kind of took off more, you know, because Nage he's just brilliant, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of dogs in Ireland calling Nage now is ridiculous.
Oh my God! Yeah,
You know?
So true.
yeah, so true.
So true.
Question here for Paul Whelan. As actors, what are the little things you look for in a character that make you think, yeah, I get them, I want to be this character? We'll put that in the context of Love Hate.
Well, for me, I'd be always looking for the secrets, you know? Like, I enjoy when you get a good script. You don't always get a good script, and you don't find them if the script isn't good, but the first thing you look for is clues about the unspoken aspects of the character. I would anyway. So I go through the script and look at all the dialogue that the character that you're playing has to say, and also anywhere in the script where other people are talking about the character. And I'd look at that and trying to get clues as to the unspoken of the character, you know. So with Git, you know, the thing that I kind of came to see was that he has a big hang up about women, you know, a massive hang up about women. And that's kind of like the hook that I got with this guy, you know, was that he's got a very dark kind of side to him when it comes to women. And I found, and then what you find, then you keep secret, you know, you don't really tell anybody when you're shooting, when you film it, you keep it yourself. It becomes your engine.
Yeah.
And so the whole sexual deviancy of this guy, like when he raped that girl, I said to myself, well, that's not the first time he's done something like that. And people who do things like that, they do a lot of other stuff, you know. And so I just carried that into pretty much every scene I did. That was my kind of MO on that, you know, because I needed to feel that I was, I need to feel that I'm playing something else that you can't see when I'm working. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a brilliant answer. It's
Oh, thanks, Mary. I was up all night trying to get that one right.
Yeah.
All the books are about.
I wouldn't have had the
Jimmy's on it. Jimmy's on
Mary,
the
by the way,
notes underneath.
you got me this, Mary. Look. You got me that.
What is it?
Best actor in the world, for fuck's sake. What did I get you? It says world's best actor.
You could have shown me. Put it up on the camera. Let's see it.
I'm afraid because I actually broke it.
Are you smashing it now?
Stop.
That's brilliant. And it came from me. I'm even more delighted. Yeah, I think you're so right. It's about the psychology, and it's about, you know, when things are overwritten, when a character oversays something, says what you want, what they want to put across, you go, that was lazy, because it's the writing and the rewriting and the pulling back and the making it smaller and smaller, and saying with 2 words what somebody else would have said in 2 pages. That's and when they do it right, that's when you go, yeah, there's so much in this. There's so many opportunities now for me to kind of bring my own stuff into this character. They've given me the hook, and now I can find my way through it. So yeah, I think the psychology of it, it's is always when you go, yeah, what they're saying between the lines is the thing that makes you choose it.
Yeah, I think that was like it with that, because you were the same as myself, Mary. It was like just it's smaller characters in season 3, and I really wanted to go in and give as much as I could, so for a chance to come back. So I was just doing the same thing, like, who is Nadine? Like, where does she come from? What does she want out of this guy? And just like, she's just trying to survive. She's ruthless. She can hold her own. And those are all the things I was looking for in her to bring to the table. And as well, I wanted to show that, you know, maybe she might get clean and she can offer more down the line. So it's like looking for all those things and how I can show that in the character, that she's more than just someone that has a drug problem and is like smuggling drugs in somewhere, that she has more to offer. And I try to do that with every character. Well, where will she be tomorrow? Like a pose from this one page that I have, what might she be doing next week or the week after, and how can I show that she has those qualities in her as well, you know?
Yeah. Like, what does she want? I think
where does she want to go?
What does she want? And
we lost Jimmy.
We lost him. Paul Butler, Lennox had a question. Has being in a show, can it hinder you at all, or is there something that maybe actors should be aware of, like when you get a big, like, is there any potential kind of pitfalls?
Well, you can't get any ads. All these ads, like, thank you, Bob. No, we know your mates too well. So you can't get them. In general, no. Apart from things like that, no. I think it helps. I think it helps that people have seen you, and you're recognizable. They give you more opportunities, I think, than they would have before. So
yeah, there's like, it's only all positive that like came out of it. I can't think of anything, any negative thing. Like, it was just such a joy to be a part of. And it was just like, because it was my first TV gig, I just learned so much from everybody. So it was like everything to me, learning from all those actors that I was around all the time. And just every opportunity is what you do with it after. Like, you know, it doesn't matter how small or big it is, everything is an opportunity, and your work still continues after that. There's no easy answer to this game. It's always a hustle and a grind, and you just love it.
And then you had the amazing kind of the follow on working with Stuart and others again then on
myself and Jimmy went on to work with them and Taken Down. So
Jimmy's back.
Jimmy's back.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there.
So like
Paul wrote Carlo Wi-Fi. Sorry.
I was going to say, Jimmy. But then I thought he wouldn't get it. He'll never.
I wasn't going to throw Carlo under the bus.
Can I just step in and ask just a couple of questions about the impact of a show like this? And are we starting to tell, as a result of this show, more accurate representations of what it's like in this country now? Because there was a lot of safe bets and safe dramas before that. And do you think, you know, the likes of, say, Kin that's coming up now, which, you know, wouldn't have a place in the world without Love Hate, you know? Particularly because it's not learned by its distribution mistakes. But do you think now finally we're not afraid to commission shows that can be sold internationally? And do you feel proud that you were part of something like that, which is kind of a watershed for Irish film and TV in that regard?
Well, Kin, I've seen the clip for Kin. It looks great. And I think incredible. And I think the thing is that it's its own, it's unique. I think that's the thing. When everything says they're going to be another Love Hate, you're going, why are you trying to be another Love Hate? Why don't you be your own self thing? And I think Kin looks like that. Obviously, it's to do with crime and all that, but it looks like it's different. It's its own thing. And it is good that they've put the money into it, because it looks like there's money in it. which
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always good.
Yeah.
There's a few bob behind that.
Yeah.
But they don't put money into stuff. That's where it falls down, because you don't get the great people, you don't get the time, you don't get all the production value. So it doesn't matter even if it was a decent script to begin with. If there's no money, it's very difficult to pull it off. So that show, it looks like there's money, it's good people, and it looks good. I'll definitely tune into it, and I think it really, I feel like it'll do its own thing and not be trying to copy.
Can you talk about what you have coming up? I know, Jimmy, we had you on the podcast recently, and you've loads of things to be doing. What are you up to?
Things, you know. There's a few things, you know. That I have a film coming next year. As soon as this kind of COVID shit happens, it started with the 5 women from Ballyfermot in the 60s going to Lourdes, which is great, you know, because the women are being played by legends like, you know, Maggie Smith and Kathy Bates and Laura Linney, you know. And
Jimmy.
Yeah, but they're very crafty, like, you know, because Maggie can do a brilliant Dublin accent. She's done it before, you know. And Laura Linney, we've turned her into an American coming home. And I know it's grand, it's good, it's grand.
Amazing.
And so we just had to work on Kathy Bates, getting Kathy to.
Sorry, Jimmy, I just love that you're just casually like, we just had to work on Kathy Bates.
Yeah, we did.
You know what I mean? You just had to do a bit of work on Kathy.
Yeah, I think she'd be grand though, you know. I mean, I used to work, I think I was saying this before, I used to work with I had a theatre company in New York called the Irish Bronx Theatre Company. It was rock and roll, you know. And we had a lot of American accent. How do I do an Irish accent, man? And so I used to get them to sing ballads, just fucking endlessly sing, you know, Brendan Bean, fucking the Dubliners, you know, just endlessly, you know. And another great one was Roger Casement. That lonely Roger Casement, you gave all a man could give. So it's one thing to get the accents, it's another thing to get the music, you know. But I think they'll do a great job. Yeah, I think they'll do a great job. And we just, me and my partner, we just finished writing a TV series, which I don't want to talk about, but it's really good, 6 1-hour episodes, and then. But the next thing I'm doing is a film called The Makeup Party, which Mary knows all about, and I finished I did the play version of it, and I've done the screenplay version of it, and I'm just molting my head with getting that done, you know.
And it is hilarious. And heartbreaking, and
it's funny.
amazing.
Yeah. That's what I got going on.
Len, what are you up to in Toronto?
What am I doing? I'm finishing up. Yeah, I just finished up. I was doing a Netflix cartoon series that'll be out next year.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I just finished on that, and they kept my towny accent. I'm delighted.
Brilliant.
Like, I'm the only dub around all these North America. Yeah, it was supposed to be New York, and then Netflix were like, "No, I think we want her dub." So my character is going to be a town. Yeah, yeah, I was delighted when they did. And doing that, and then I was in The Expanse.
On the Summer Hill.
On Amazon. Yeah, up Summer Hill. That was a win. And then I have The Expanse season 6. I got my head into that. That'll be out in December. And I'm working on a video game right now that I can't say anything about at all. That's all I can say about that. But then
great to be working, lads.
Yeah. And then I have my own stuff I've been writing and producing over here. So I have like a TV series set in the 80s that's in development now. So I'm going home. So like I'm available to work in Ireland as well now from October, guys. So because everything I can do virtually now. So once I'm finished work here, I'm jetting back. So throw me in.
How'd the show go, Mary? You had a show recently.
Oh, it's not on yet. It's in.
I thought it was okay. Sorry.
Yeah, it's in the Dublin Theatre Festival. It's called Stronger. So
Club time.
It's and luckily now audiences will now have 60% capacity, which is better than what it was a week ago, which was 50 people. So we're delighted with that. And then I've got another show coming on straight after that in the Gaiety, which is a play I did before called Holy Mary.
That's a great play. That's a great play. That was very funny.
Yeah, it's Owen Colfer who's written all the Artemis Fowl books. So he's just brilliant, and it's two kids, myself and we're basically playing 7-year-olds, Jacinta Sheeran and myself, and we play a pile of other characters, but he writes children so well. And yeah, I'm doing that, and I did a bit on Valhalla recently, and a tiny bit on a film called The Wonder, doing little bits and doing cartoon stuff as well. And I haven't done a game though. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'll be doing them. I've come back here next year to do the motion capture because I'm doing the voice, and I can't wait to do the motion capture of
Brilliant.
it. Yeah, because it looks like a lot of fun. So I've come back in February to do that.
Yeah,
it's just mental when you're doing it. You're just like, I'm going to be a video game. Hurrah!
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Thrilled. It's like
Is that
just
where they
knock
put
that
all the
off
little
my
dots
list.
on your lane? Is
Yeah.
it?
I just finished all the voice, which was intense, but it's always been a little dream just to be immortalized into a video game. So I was delighted.
Yeah.
When's the Dublin Theatre Festival on, Mary?
It starts on the 30th of September.
Oh, delighted! I'll be back.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
You might have a hard time getting a ticket. That's the only problem.
Oh, because it's 60. Yeah, I need to start looking into that now.
Yeah, unless she knows somebody that's in one of the shows.
We're
Unless I
actually
know
sold
someone
out.
there.
Like, we can't even get family or friends or anything.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it is. It's great, but it's like, they got onto it.
Should have just put it on at Crow Park and could have gotten loads in.
Well, you know the thing, like if there was actually lots of tickets to spare, nobody would want them. That's
it's always the way.
Yeah. But
okay, guys. Listen, thank you so much for your time. It's really, really appreciated by all of us, and thanks a million.
Before you go, Lynn Jonathan said hi.
Oh, tell him I said hello.
I will.
I'll give you a text because I'll see you when I'm back.
Okay, cool, Lynn.
For a pint.
Lovely. Yeah, for a pint, who would have thought?
Yeah.
Thanks so much. I have to rush us off because we've the Virgin Media Dublin Film Festival up next. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
That was
you.
great.
Thanks,
Great, everybody.
Fun
Bye,
chat
everybody.
with you.
Good seeing y'all.
The community really appreciates it, and thanks. And Lynn, I'm gonna nab you for the podcast when you get back.
Oh, gladly.
Okay, thanks.
Mary, Jimmy, I'll see you soon, I hope. Bye.
See you
Take care.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.